setting up two live streams at once. That's pretty cool. I am live over here on YouTube, down here on the corner, and up here I am live on Facebook. We are dual streaming today for our painting with Melissa from the Top Drawer RVA. So hello and welcome. Welcome friends. If you're new joining me for the first time, say hi, drop in the comments below, let me know where you're watching from. If you're back again to hang out with me because you love to sit on the floor and paint, welcome back. Welcome back. We have a new project today. And it looks kind of scary right now. A little dark, a little, what the heck is she doing? But as always, I have a plan. There's always a method behind the madness, so trust me. Just go with the flow. Today's tutorial is going to be all about how to paint a loose floral scape. So, if you know me as a Top Drawer RVA follower, you know that I post videos quite often. And yesterday's post was about this piece, which I'm calling my Frankenstein piece, because even though it looks crazy, vintage, antique, and all of the things, it's not. It's a Frankenstein set. It's actually made up from about 3 or 4 furniture. Somebody has reconstructed it. It's pretty cool, but not worth anything in its natural state, especially since the front of these doors that you're seeing right over here are actually plywood. Do you want to listen? Can you hear how hollow that sounds? It's plywood. So I do not feel bad for painting over top of this, but I do post on my own page here on Facebook many tutorials, and I did put up a video today here on my Top Drawer RVA page. And on that video, I talked about a toy chest that I did that I painted with a dark scape like this, and then we did loose florals over the whole entire thing. And when I posted it, I was like, hey, that look is perfect for this chest, because I haven't done that look in quite a while. I usually do it with terra clay paint, but I thought today's a good day to get messy, sit on the floor and play with the paint. So we are going to hang out and do that together. So welcome. So over here I have YouTube streaming, up here I have Facebook streaming. I'm going to scooch my bottom in close to the furniture, and we're going to jump right in and play with some paint. As always, if you are watching and you have something as I go along, or you have a question or comment, you can always drop it in and I will come back after and answer it. So what are we doing? Okay, so I'm sitting on my little foam pad, and I have a whole bunch of paint open on the floor. So what do I have open on the floor? Terra clay paint here on the floor. Have you heard about terra clay paint before? It is Dixie Belle's newest baby. It's going on, oh my gosh, probably about 2 years old now, which is crazy to me. And it is my favorite go-to paint. I use this paint all the time. It is a thicker paint. Its consistency is thicker. Some in some small jars here, but they come in the 16-ounce containers. I'll show you one right now. And these are actually priced at your local retailer at $17.95, which is crazy good for the amount of paint that you get. And let me tell you, a little goes a long way. So I did a base coat over here, all of the blues. I did some cerulean blue, London blue, blue moon, a little Lanny Salute, some galaxy. I think I even threw some wisteria mist in there. But basically, we're going to cover the entire front of this piece pretty much with some big finger painting roses. Now, let's talk about this for a second, because I know I'm going to have somebody say, hey, Melissa, I cannot hand paint like you. And I'm going to say, hey, yes you can. Yes you can. So I thrift a lot. I go to estate sales, and I buy books with pretty pictures in them. I like to look at florals, and if it helps you to find florals in a book, I suggest finding one. If you don't find some at your estate sale or your thrift store, go to maybe a library and check. So here's some roses. We're going to do deconstructed roses today in a very loose floral vibe, and I'm going to show you another picture. Let's see if I can pick up this book, because it is heavy. It's a heavy book. Okay, this is like a painting masterclass, modern master book. Really big and chunky and beautiful. Do you see that big, gorgeous rose right there? We're gonna do this big, gorgeous rose style. Very loose, very watercolor. I'm gonna spray it. We're gonna get messy. We're gonna have some fun. So let's jump in. So everything I'm using today is available at DixieBellePaint.com. You can find that online, or you can the website to find your local retailer. They should have it as well. I'm gonna try and bring you in close over here, Facebook, so you don't miss exactly what I'm doing. I'm starting up here, I'm gonna bring it in. So, if you're worried about composition, I suggest taking chalk and starting and just kind of laying out a pattern. That would require the brain of a planner. This brain really doesn't have that much planning in it. A really big go with the flow kind of a girl. So I'm just going to grab a couple brushes that I have here on the floor, and we're going to start, okay? What am I going to lay down first onto my canvas, because this piece of furniture is going to be my canvas? It is going to be the greenery in the background. The dark greens first. So I'm just going to grab a brush. This is a French tip brush. I like to use natural brushes as much as possible when I do clay paint. And I'm going to dip right into the malachite, which is a bright green. In my head, these flowers span a piece, okay, over where the hardware is going to be and down the front. Remember, clay paint is a different color when you lay it down versus when it's dry. This dry paint is actually going to look like this when it's sealed. See that dark? See how the dark comes out? I've actually done a little bit of wet distressing on here. I gave this rub with this rag when it's wet to pull it back. I want to see some of this wood. But this nice dark color that you're seeing over here is actually the true color that you're going to get of the clay paint. When it's dry, it lightens up. So this looks a little bold. Don't worry. We're basically going to paint over top of it. So I'm just going to lay out some greens because the green is going to be for my roses. Am I just going willy-nilly? Heck to the end. So my flowers are going to start up here. That means there's going to be some green behind them, coming down, dripping down, and the florals are going to come across the front. And then we're also going to come down here to the... Okay, I haven't even painted the size of the top of this piece. This is just the front. Can you do this? Yes, you can. This is easy. Now I'm going to jump into pistachio. Pistachio is a more of a vibrant green. And we're going to start to just kind of spread out some more vibrant green with my dark malachite. This is not going to look like when it's done, okay? This is my base. So when I start painting, I can come in and really paint these roses with having like some nice green background that I can then come in and add the detail, okay? So water and clay paint go together really well. You have to remember that they activate. I want this paint to be drippy. I want it to be runny. I'm going to be touching this, dripping this, and running. We're doing fake watercolor today. This is going to look like watercolor when we're done. I want this to run down my piece. Okay, I want it to make these little trails of green. If it's too much, grab your rag, spray it off, wipe it off, whatever you got to do. It's not a big deal. You bring this paint back to life when you spray it. So right now we're just going to start to finish my background for my big roses. Is this neat? Yes. Is this fun? Yes. Should everybody try it? Of course. All right, I'm actually going to use the same brush. I'm going to dip into the black. I think a little bit of black onyx. And I'm just going to try and make some more little bits of green, but with some different pigments in them. So I want to add a little bit of that black onyx. So this is just my green leaf base for when I come in here at roses. We're going to dry this too before I jump in and start to paint my flowers over top. Can you see how the color changes to more? It's not so bright when you add the black in. Clay paint blends really well. There is only 18 colors right now, okay? But here's the deal. You can create really anything you want with a little bit of paint. You can add white, you can add black. You are a free bird when it comes to this. Okay, perfect. This is what we want. Now, I'm going to take a minute and really hit it with the dryer because this, I don't want the green to travel when we put the roses over top, okay? Trust me. Trust the process, people. Trust the process. I'm here because I think I'm only going to be able to do kind of like one rose at a time. And then this way we won't get this part all wet. Can you see how much it darkens when it's dry? Softening the edges a little bit. We're staying loose today, staying fluid, okay? This is easy. I don't want you to overthink it. The more loose you are, the more you have fun, the more, I guess, the better turn out is how I'm going to say. Okay, so on the floor I have paper plate, plastic plate. This is how I'm going to mix my colors, okay? I have some smaller brushes on the floor, artisan brushes, and we're going to use your fingers today to make these flowers. Catch my drift? So we're going to start off with the darkest color first. If I want, I'm going to use the plate. To begin with, I'm going to come in with this nice bright pink. This pink is Bougainvillea. Say that with me. Bougainvillea. Kind of like a tricky name, right? I want the middle of my flowers, the middle of my roses, to be the darkest. I'm also going to mix in a little bit of that elderberry. Actually, I can mix it up right here. So we're just going to start off with, where am I going to lay these roses out? I'm going to do one here. We'll do a little one up here. And we'll do another big one over here. Medium one over here. I'm really playing with color right now. I'm not really laying out my color pattern because this side I didn't dry. So we're going to start up here with the big flowers. How big, you say? As big as you like. As big as you want. Let's even put one up here. Coming down, right? Now, I'm going to go with the same brush and I'm going to jump into the orange color. The orange color is called, where's my list? Marigold. We have marigold, okay? So all I'm doing right now is mixing a little bit of the inside part of my flower with that. Okay, so now, I actually want to go back. I think I want a little bit more pink. The inside part of the rose is going to be the darkest, okay? So now we're going to dry that again. I'm going to hit it with my gun because I don't want it to move too much. I want that darkness to stay dark in the middle. This is where the fun part starts to happen. I'm going to take another brush. Now, you can mix some pink, so I'm going to add some of that really pretty bougainvillea onto my plate. And I'm going to take some white moonbeam as well onto my plate. And I'm going to create a soft pink because I don't want to make a pure white rose. We want to work in layers. We want to work in layers like from darkest to lightest, okay? So I'm just going to mix in some pink. Even add a little bit more. Even a little more. It's looking a little light. I want it just a touch darker. Okay, so now this is just an artisan brush. You can buy a whole set of artisan brushes from Dixie Belle. Remember, loosey-goosey. If you do this, like really, too nervous. Now, go in messy, and we're going to actually use our fingers to finger paint as well. Let's start with the biggest. Also, you need to remember, when you're painting like a scape scene, where's your light? Where's your light coming from? My light in my head always comes from this top corner. That means when you look at the flowers, the darkest have the lightest part come around the edge in this motion, with then the darker underneath again. Okay? If I went all the way around with white, it's going to look unbalanced. You need to remember that you should have like a pretend light source onto your rose. So I'm just going to start with my pink. We're going to go loosey-goosey, and I'm going to start to add some pen. I hear all the little kiddos outside starting to come home from school. It is time, about that time. Okay, let's work on like 2 or 3. I feel like this guy's going to be a bit big. We're going to make him large. Literally, loosey-goosey, playing with your paint. Remember the light source. Like all the roses are going to have the lightest part of the flower touching that edge. And add a little bit of water to my paint. Are you starting to see something happen here? Does it look a little bit less crazy? Am I winning you over yet? Let's start with these ones, okay? So I'm going to just continue the pattern. Next color. Okay, let me hit this with the dryer so that we can start to build our layers with the color mixing too much. Next layer is going to have more white, less pink, okay? My same little tray down here, I'm going to add a little bit more white to my flowers. I might even throw in a little bit of that orange just to change the color up a little bit more. So when you think about these roses, I want you to think that every layer that I'm adding gets lighter and lighter and lighter, okay? How are we doing over here, Facebook? Still see behind my head? Right there, aim you up a little bit more. So we're going to keep with this same kind of flow. It's just that every layer of petals is just going to get a little bit lighter. How are they looking? Do you like this? Isn't this cute? Isn't this a cute idea for a big Frankenstein buffet that has been made up of many different parts? I think so. We haven't even gotten into the finger painting part yet, which is like the funnest part of it all. Keep going with your lighter pink. You're in control of the amount of flowers. Remember, we're just kind of one door today where we can really focus on getting it dry. Nice, nice. Now, before we come in with the white, I'm going to start to spray my flowers. We're going to drip these flowers down. Remember that this clay mineral paint is reactivated by water, so when you spray it, we're going to kind of water out some of these edges. I'm going to take my rag. If you don't want to go too far, if you just want to kind of blur your edges, you can keep your rag handy. But I want to blur out some of these edges, make some of this start to drip down and create a watercolor effect. You see how it's just softening them a little bit? I should tape this door because that noise is going to drive me bananas. Let's see. Hi. Let's see. I have Donna watching. How are you, Donna? We're working on watercolor roses today. Can you see how soft that green is changing now? Running that paint down is just changing that look a little bit. Really up those edges, loosening it up a little bit more. If you rub really hard, you're going to pull back all the paint. So just kind of be gentle, decide what you like. I want to watercolor drip these flowers. I like to really kind of control my drip factor, so I tend to use my fingers a lot. You can pat the edges and really smoke them out. Nice. Perfect. How is that looking? Are you seeing my flowers? Yes, if you pull back really far, it starts to really build up and make a pretty look. So now I'm going to hit it with the dryer again because we want to dry it up a little bit. I like to call these flowers like cabbage roses or those really pretty, what's the one with the R? Is it ranculus? Ranculus? The really big open blooms. Okay, let's move into the white now. I have a separate brush that I haven't gotten dirty yet and contaminated. I'm just going to grab some of this white and I'm going to put it on the plate because I might mix it with some pink in a minute. So now, we like our base. Remember we got the dark middles that we started with? That's kind of like the shadow that you're seeing, and we built our petals around the base. I want to now start to give it a little bit more definition. To be honest, I probably could have grabbed a couple more smaller brushes, but for what we're doing, this will work. We're going to start to gently touch our petals to create a little bit more definition. Can you see how I remember that the light source is up here to the top? The light source that I'm working with is the pretend light source is up this way. So that means the highlights for these petals are going to not be all the way around, right? They're gonna be like, with having the light source coming down from the top, they're gonna come in this way. When you start to add layers and build up your flowers, see a big difference of how they come together. I'm getting a little bit of color on there, so I'm just wipe off my brush a little bit. You can be gingerly, like you can gently dab it on to create some of that kind of pokey texture, or you can be thick movements with brush like this. It's up to you. There's no rules in painting. This is just defining our little flowers and making them pretty. You can also spray this white to have the white drip down, but I feel like the spraying the white might be a little harsh. So we're gonna kind of like keep in these sections and then drip more pink. And to be honest, I'll probably even get out the gold and do some gold dripping. How are you liking these flowers? So you feel like they look like roses? Are they looking like they might look like? We're far from done. This is just kind of like the basic start of a tutorial for you to learn how to paint on these gorgeous flowers in an abstract way. And we can even fill in the space. Once I get all flowers down, I can start to fill in the space with more definite leaves, maybe even tinier other flowers. Like, it doesn't take but a minute to flip through a magazine or a book and find like some other really cute little flowers that might be really pretty accent flowers for that. But this is really simple, you guys. This is not like it's a hard project to do. This is fast. It is pretty. I'm gonna pull my Facebook camera back so you can kind of get a better idea of how much space I fill in. Let's continue on with our blooms. Let's go back to the dark color. And stuff like this gets me sucked in. Like, I feel like I could paint like this for a really long time. So when it starts to get close to 4 o'clock, somebody remind me, because I do have to pick up a kiddo from school. And sometimes things like this make me get a little carried away. Okay, so here, if I stick my head back a little bit and look at it front on, I have another big one here. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going over here. So I'm gonna add one in the middle. Remember, I want darker middles to start with. Let's do this one quite a big. Even over here. So big, 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 and then one cascade down here. And then come in afterwards and fill in blanks. Like, if I feel like there's a space that needs to be filled, it's easier to do once you've kind of laid out your bigger palette. You can back in with your darker color if you'd like, and add in those centers or some highlights around the bottom where the leaves might get a little dark underneath. I actually kind of like the thought of dripping a little bit more of this dark color of purple, maybe mixed in even with a little bit of orange down here to kind of drip down. Because remember, the light source, right? The light source is coming from the top right for me. So by adding these little bits of dark underneath, and then maybe taking a spray bottle and dripping them down, that'll be a cute little look too. Let's spray it and see what happens. So start to soften some of those edges. Loving that. Because I want this to look like an artist's canvas. I don't want anything to be too defined, too painted in. I want it to be interesting. I want it to be botanical, but still really soft. Nice. You can even come in afterwards and actually hit these purple edges with some more of the white as a highlight. Okay, let's grab a little bit of that orange. Remember, all the colors I'm using today are from Terra Clay Paint line, and you can find them on the Dixie Belle Paint page. So now we're going to go back to working it. So let's get some of these dry. And if you leave the clay paint on thick like this, you're going to get a nice thick layer. It's going to stay thick. It's not going to go flat again. You're going to be able to keep and manipulate those the way that you want. I'll of course be adding gold to this as well. All right, so remember the darkest goes in the middle, then the second, so let's mix up some pink again with some of that red. Not red, it's more pink and pink, to be honest. Even more, I need it darker. Give me some more pink. This is messy. This is getting fun and making a mess. This is what you're supposed to do when you paint. Have a good time with it. If you're real neat and tidy, like I told you, it's going to be as fluid. It's not going to be as natural looking. And don't make all of your flowers the same size either. Your flowers need to be all different shapes and sizes. If they're all the same size, it's going to look weird. You have to really vary the sizes to know that you're going to get the look that you're going for. Have you painted flowers on furniture before? Has anybody else done this? This is a look I've done like years ago, a lot more years ago. I haven't done it in a very long time, but posting that video today really made me remember how cool it was and how much I loved it, and how this piece, being so weird and Frankenstein set with this strange top, suits it. Remember, loosey-goosey. Look how far back my brush. The more close you hold your brush, the more defined action you have. The further back you hold your brush, the more ability you have to just kind of go with the flow. You're not locked into creating a shape. It's more organic. And one little one down here in the bottom. Okay, I'm going to pull my head back and have a little peek. Okay, so see how I have a little bloom here? I'm going to have to do a couple more little blooms to kind of like fill in space. But this is getting closer to what I was going for. It's a lot of just like touching it and playing with it, getting it exactly the way they want. And as long as you keep mixing the same colors, you get the same achieved effect. You're not going to make all your flowers look too different because you're still mixing the same colors, right? You're not adding a ton of new colors. You're just kind of taking different variations of the fade. Okay, let me dry these flowers a little bit, move to the next layer. So I've mixed some lighter pink. The next set is a lighter pink again. Actually, might not be light enough. Looks almost the same. Need more white. Take a minute, wipe my brush off. Get a little crazy down here with the amount of paint I have on my brush. That's better. Moving in, making those petals lighter with every layer. And you could totally do this. I did like this was 100% with my fingers. You're not locked into using brushes. You can even do petals falling down. Like you don't have to keep it all so clean and neat. And if you were really nervous about trying this look and you wanted to try it on canvas for a project, I totally suggest grabbing something a little bit tinier to with. I mean, you don't have to jump into like a big piece of furniture right away. It's whatever you are comfortable with. But to be honest, this is like the more messy you are, the better looking your roses are. One more. Cute. I should do like another falling petal. I've got some up here. Let's do one over here. Cute. Okay, so now we need to go even whiter. I might just actually even just go in completely white. Let's dry this pink a bit. Let's move into that white. Remembering my pretend light source is up this way, so we can't do too much light on the interior. If you go too much white all the way around your flower, it starts to look strange. That look like peonies, don't they? Peonies, roses, it's abstract, it's however you want to take it. And I can't get this look with any other kind of paint, just so you know. If you haven't tried Terra Clay paint, it is available in the 4-ounce sizes. So you could get the colors I'm using today and actually create this entire look with the little 4-ounce sizes. You can do your project in a totally different color. You don't have to be doing Terra for the base. I just like that watercolor vibe that Terra paint gives me. So these ones are looking more white than these ones. Let's go back up and add a little bit more white to these. Actually like better. I think it's because I'm further away, so it's a little bit more loose, and they just look a bit better. Let's see, they do look like peonies, don't they? So cute. It's fall and I'm painting flowers. I should be painting pumpkins. Maybe we'll do pumpkins. Okay. So you know what I didn't do over here that I did do was spray my flowers so that I can kind of soften some of those edges and get those drippy runs. Let's spray a little bit and move some of this paint so that we soften our edges. Because I want drips, I want runs, I want flowy. I don't want pretty flowers. I want wet, moving flowers. See that? See that? That's what I want. Softness. If you feel like it's going too much, just gently pat it. You can manipulate your drips. Better. Loving this. What are you thinking? How are we liking this little look? And to be honest, once I get this actually on here and all dry, I'm probably going to come back in and sand the heck out of it even more. Like I want it more rough. I don't want it to look too perfect. So let me look at my camera so I can see what you're seeing. We are looking a little unbalanced. The unbalancing from way too much center in the middle. So something has to happen here and something has to happen here. We need to add another flower, I think. A smaller flower. Up here. Maybe even here. And then something has to happen over here. Because in my eye, I can see it in the camera better than I can see it in front of my face, to be honest. And then maybe even one little sprinkled one up here. Let's get a little bit of that orange going up. Better. Spreading it out a little bit. See how much this dries in a lighter shade when it starts to get dry versus being wet? Somebody's talking about stamps to get started. Too much of a diagonal line. You're right. You're right. It was right across the center. So we need to break it up. I might have to put another big one over here, actually. Good call, Monsieur. I see that. Let's put another big one right here. Let's add a little bit of purple, too. Let's add a little bit of dark to that one. If it's too perfect, it looks weird. It can't be perfect. Okay, now we have to go back in and make a little pink again. Remember, from darkest to lightest. Let's make this bloom the second piece coming in. It's actually easier for me to look in the camera. That's better. See, I can see it better when I look from far away versus like looking close up. Things look straight too close. And less perfect is always better. Better already. Thank you, whoever suggested that. It was way too much center going on. It was way too much like this. So I'm actually gonna have to probably come back in and add like little tiny blues. Plus I need to find an accent flower. So if you're using a reference book, you can go through and find something that might be smaller. There's some really Lily of the Valley. I could do those really easy. I could do something a little more viney. Let's see if they have anything that would be more viney that I could mimic. Simply, because I don't want to get too detailed, right? It has to match what I'm doing project. Something small, something little flowers like this. These are look like little clovers with little white, I think white flowers to the edges. Let's grab some lighter pink to these flowers now. I love it. If you guys try this, if you decide today that this is something that you love and it's making you want to paint it, I would love to see. I always like it when people do a look that's similar, you know, able to inspire you maybe a little bit. Send me a picture, send me a DM. It's always just my little phone. I don't have a VA, I don't have anything crazy going on. I would love to see. Send me a picture and we can love on it together, because I like to see what everybody else is doing with the things that we talk about on this page. Better. So even after I'm done all of this and it starts to get more layers, I'll probably come in with black and start to shadow some black in here as well. Because I don't want it to be too light, I'm going to want to have a little bit more of some darker tones in the inside parts, and leaves. I'll be hand painting in some leaves as well. Isn't that nice? So to the point where I look at it, I'm like, ooh, I love it so much. I get so excited. This is a feeling when you're a painter. So you can sometimes get a little burnt out when you don't do enough hand painting. When you're not pretty enough, like if you maybe use too many things of the same color, maybe you painted like 5 things in a row white and you were like, oh, I just wish I had some color in my life. This is how to do it. Get organic with your paint. And just paint something a little bit more fluid and fun, because why not? Life's too short to be boring. Cute, cute, cute. I actually like it when these petals kind of flake out like this. Like, I might need to add a little bit more, just kind of crazy petals falling down. Like, I don't want it to be too pretty. I want it to be more organic feeling. Oh my gosh, you guys, they're turning out so cute. Yeah, Cheryl, try them on the canvas first. I don't want you to be intimidated. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the interior of these flowers. The opposite end of my paintbrush, I'm just going to dip it into this marigold. Add a couple little, like, I mean, I know they're supposed to be roses, but they can have those little center stamen things that go in the middle. Not on all of them, just on some of them. And actually, we'll be coming in with gold as well to do this, but just to add a little bit more cuteness. All I'm doing is adding this with the extra little end of my brush, right? Cute, 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 cute. Okay, I see something that I want to do. I want to blur this a little bit. I don't want the green to roll down into my white roses though. Hello, come on. So I'm just going to keep patting it. This is like the best part about Terra is the reactivation process. Being able to come in and your paint can be 100% dry and you wet it and it comes back to life like that. It's the best. It is the best for watercolor vibe. And mixing those greens together with a little bit of the white. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, so I think at this point, my best plan of action would be to stop for a little bit. Just stop. Because I don't want to keep going when it's wet, number one. I want to walk away and see what happens when it dries, because this paint looks different when it's dry, right? It lightens up in a ton. I might come back and go, oh, I don't see enough of this beautiful dark drippy factor going on. I want to see more of the drip, of the dark. So I might have to come in and add more of the dark color because it might get too light. Watch, I'll show you when I dry a spot. Let's find a spot that we could really dry and see a difference. Let's just right here. Let's dry this area right here. It's just going to get lighter and lighter and lighter as it dries. And the white might just get too white. Like I might actually really have to darken it up some. So that, my friends, is as far as I'm going to take you today. Did you learn something? Are you going to try to get a little messy with your paint? Get in there, finger paint, touch it, have some fun. I think what will happen is I will end up like sprinkling on even some of the like I'll be splashing it on, and I'll be changing some of these edges to add even more definition with black, with green, possibly even some more pink. I'm going to add cute little white flowers in a way, I think. It's going to look different every time you see it. But don't worry, I will continue to post this as I move along on my page. So if you're not following the Top Drawer RVA, come follow me. Across all social media, I'm everywhere. I'm not just here on Instagram or Facebook. I'm also on TikTok, I'm on Threads, I'm all over the place. So you can follow me anywhere and see what I'm up to. I sometimes don't post the finished product on Facebook until it's done. If you want to kind of see like work in progress, your best bet would be to come over to follow me over there, where you can see exactly what I'm up to. TikTok is kind of like my diary. TikTok gets my diary of like everything that I'm doing on the daily. TikTok kind of gets a little everything every day, where some of the other stuff gets more like the finished product. So if you feel like you want to try this, the paint I'm using today is called Terra Clay Paint. Terra Clay Paint is available in 18 beautiful colors, little tiny 4-ounce sizes. These big sizes that go forever are only $17. That's crazy. $17.95 at your local retailer or online. Check it out. I think that you will have more fun playing with Terra than you will with anything else. I give you permission to just get your fingers messy. Go play with your paint and have a good time, because it's too short to be boring and not live in color. And I think that anybody can do this. It's not hard. It's easy. It's just a matter of figuring out exactly what you want to do it on. And if you wanted to practice first and do it on a canvas, you totally could. But voila, we did this together. Don't they look pretty? I love it. I love it. So the rest of this piece will be nice and dark, I'll probably spread some florals up to the top on the corner opposite side, probably dripping down the side a little bit. This is just going to be 100% handed fun. So stay tuned, follow along, and I will see you on the flip side. Maybe next week, this time, 3 p.m., Dixie Belle Paint page. I'm not sure when I'll be back over here on YouTube, but stay tuned and make sure to follow along, and I will teach you all of my painting tricks. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Coming over here, you're a little further away. Thank you.